Alright folks, I'll now try to explain example or question 1. I thought it was a really straightforward question that is also a very good example. Okay, so let's just find all the forces in each member and identify whether they are compression or tension. Okay, I'm just gonna actually just make this a lot bigger. Okay, so first thing first, let's look at it externally. Okay, externally wise, I know that my C will have or may have, all this is assumption by the way, the direction. So I'm just going to assume the reaction will be like this. And for D, because it's a roller along the x-axis, it shouldn't have any x resultant. So there's only a y. So I'm just going to call it dy, and then this is cy, and then this is cx. So these are my external forces acting on the entire free body diagram. Alright? So now let's try to help ourselves, okay, and see what we can do or what we can find. So I know that if I were to take moments about C equals to 0, I know for a fact that I'm left with one unknown, which is my dy. So dy, if you were to take point C as a pivot, it will be anti-clockwise. Okay, so now I'm just going to say my anti-clockwise will be my positive. So dy times 2, because moment is force times distance, perpendicular distance. So my dy times 2 minus, let's take a look at the first 5 at the bottom. So it's 5 times 4. It's going in the right, so it's going to be turning clockwise in the about C, so it's a minus. And let's take a look at my second one, which is also a 5. 8 equals to 0. So what does that mean? You punch in your calculator, which I'm going to punch in now. I think you guys can hear it. My dy should be, that's crazy, whatever, 30 kilonewtons. Are you actually 30 kilonewtons? I think so. I'm not looking at my answer. So my dy, I am now assuming it to be, or not assuming, I've calculated for it to be 30 kilonewtons. Okay? I don't know what's my cx and cy. Or do I? I do know my cx. My cx will be, take note, I'm still looking at external forces by the way. So let me just go ahead and clear this working out. We don't need it anymore. So let's find my cx now. How do I find my cx? Resultant force of the entire free body diagram is 0 for x. Take note, I'm still looking at external forces. I'm not diving into internal yet. So in this case, let's take positive right side. So cx plus 5 plus 5 equals to 0. My cx equals to negative 10 kilonewtons. Negative means what? It just means that I have identified the wrong direction of it. So in this case, my cx is actually going in the left direction. So now I'm just going to correct myself. Cx is now going in the left direction of 10 kilonewtons. Take note, I never put a negative because I have changed the direction of it. So I can say it's negative 10 in the right direction, or I can say it is positive 10 in the left direction. Okay? Did I just say 10? 10. Man, speech is never my thing. So, can I find cy? Technically I can find cy. My cy is basically the opposite of my dy, which is, I don't think I need to do calculation, 30 kilonewtons, however, going downwards. Okay? You know, I'm just going to explain because I don't want to be like the professor. Okay, I'm assuming, remember, I'm assuming my cy is going up, right? So cy plus dy equals to 0, cy equals to negative dy, cy equals to negative 30, which is basically wrong direction, okay? So now that I got all my external forces, now let's find all the internal forces, or the forces in the member. And in this case, this is where I start to touch on internal forces. So my secret rule or hack that I like to do is to always try to find a point where one bar is parallel to either x or y axis, and then the other bar is just completely free. Why is that so? Let's look at point A, for example. Okay, AB is in this case vertical. Okay, means my x equals to 0. So whatever force that is acting onto here, if you think about it, is essentially my AD cosine alpha. Okay, because I'm taking AB completely out of the equation, so I'm left with AD. And if I can find AD, I can find AB. Am I right? Okay, don't mind my Control-Z spamming. Oh sh. Technically, okay, now let's look at point B. Okay, let's look at one by one and see, you know, which point is the best to solve first. Point B. Oh my god. Too many variables, man. Actually, point B is, I think point B can, because essentially I can find BD. Ooh, I can also do B. But then I won't be able to find like my vertical because it's technically still too unknown. Even though I find my BD, right, like my this one, I technically can't find this unless I have either of the numerical value. So in this case, technically my A is still the best, because once I can find AD, I can find AB. Now let's look at C. C, okay, I have one going here, I have one going here. Oh, dude, BC is insane. If I just look at BC alone, my internal force going upwards is basically the opposite of the resultant. Oh my god, I just found that my BC or CB, it doesn't really matter, BC or CB, equals to 30 kilonewtons. Okay, and in this case it's tension. Why? Because I'm assuming for it to go upwards or outwards. I'm always assuming tension all the way, okay? Always assume tension all the way. And then if I were to just look at the resultant force of C alone for the y direction, assuming that going up is positive, I have my force CB minus 30, because my 30 is going down. So basically my force CB is 30, okay? Bam! Then now let's look at my force CY equals to 0. Sorry, not equal to 0. Force CX. Yes, equal to 0. Yeah, equilibrium. So now I'm assuming right side is positive. So force CD minus 10 equals 0. CD equal to 10. So if you look back at your answer sheet or whatever, see, BC is 30, CD is 10. There you go. So now you have found two forces. That's crazy. Okay, then maybe I should clean up the arrow a bit also. Ah, shit, I had to remove everything. How do I do it the faster method, man? I don't know. So, I'm just going to make it a lot thicker. Because I know that its tension is going this direction. That means that, yeah, it's going this direction. The reason why okay, this is personal preference, okay? I like to draw two arrows, okay? So in this, let's look at CD alone. If I look at C, my left arrow is just representing the force in relation to my C. Then from the right arrow is representing the force in relation to D. Because if I were to just put one arrow, and then suddenly I want to look at D, right? Then I see this arrow, oh, it's pointing towards D, so it's a compression. Then that's where you're wrong. Or I won't say you're wrong, but that's where you start to have like, you may have polarity issue. So just to help myself, this personal preference, I like to put like, two arrows. So that when I look at D, I look at the closest arrow and say, oh, it's pointing away, aka tension. Okay, personal preference, nothing wrong. It's just my personal preference. So now let's move on to D. So now I have found one variable, but now I have two member that's going upwards. So in this case, my Y, I have two unknowns. Then for my X, I have also two unknowns plus one known, which is what I found. So it's still not the best, okay? In this case, I would say technically A will be the best method. So this is just me trying to like justify like, or trying to show you why scenarios of A will always be the best point to start with. When you have one force that's parallel to either X or Y axis, and then the other one is completely free. Then you can always calculate AD, and once you find AD, you can find the horizontal force or the vertical force, the parallel force, whatever. Okay, so this is my secret hack. Oh, if only I can gatekeep it, but whatever. Such is life. So now let's find AD first. Okay, so now I am assuming that right side is positive, and now I am assume that this is a tension. Okay, tension, so it's going outwards, or in a way right side. Okay, so bam, 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 boom. Let's do some Pythagoras to find what's the length of AD. Pythagoras of length AD is basically 8 square plus 2 square, because 4 plus 4, 8, then 2. Okay, so let's compute it. I get 8.2462. I'm going to leave it in 5 as for my working. So 5 kilonewtons plus 80 over 8, 2, 4, and x direction will be a 2, because the 2, if I draw the similar triangle, where can I draw it? Here. This is 8, this is 2, then this is the 8 point something, okay? So I'm taking AD divide by this length times 2, which explains this one here, equals to 0. AD equals to 5 divided by 2 over 8.2524. My AD equals to negative, because when I 5 bring over, it become negative, so negative 20.6 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 612 kilonewtons. So this just means that my AD is basically compression. Okay. So it is a compression. Or I can just label it here C. So technically it will be AD equals to 20.616 C. I know the answer sheet says 20.6. If you think about it, 3SF is just 20.6. I just like to leave it in 5SF for working, whatever. So there you go, you found your AD. Now you can leave your AD answer as a negative, but you have to indicate very clearly that negative values are compression, positive value are tension. For me, I like to leave everything in positive values, then I just label it as C or T, which is compression or tension. Okay? So now that you found AD, you can now find your AB. So resultant force of Y equals to 0. Remember, you have to still account for the 5, but 5 is going in the X direction, so meh, useless. So my AD in the Y direction is basically 8 divided by the 8 point, shit, what was it again? Damn it. Oh, 8.2462. I'm, same thing. Okay, now I'm assuming going up is positive. Should I do that? No, let's do going down is positive, because in this case, if AB you are going downwards, right, is tension, and I want tension to be the positive one. So in this case, my AD have to be a negative because it's going up. Plus AB equals to 0. Then AB equals to, sub in the values, remember negative, this whole thing negative, bring over, become a positive, so becomes 20.6 times 8 over 8, blah, 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 blah. Then I'm just gonna key in the answer, or the working, sorry, not the answer, 8.2462. I get, okay, I'm just gonna leave it in 3SF just to not confuse you guys. 20 kilonewtons, and it's positive. So what does that mean? That means that my AB, I have guessed correctly. That it is tension. Poggers. Okay, so now all my members for A have been solved. Let's move on to B. So now B, you can find the X direction. Then because you, like I said earlier on, you have to identify either AB or BC to help identify the other. And now because I have identified AB, I can use it to help me find BC. But first I have to find BD. And my BD is no other than when the resultant of X direction equals to 0. So same thing, tension, I'm assuming that right side is positive because this BD is going towards the right and down. So 5 plus BD, then do your Pythagoras again. BD is basically 4 square plus 2 square. So you get 2 over 4.4. You know what? I don't want to be like a lecturer. I'm just gonna find BD for you guys first, because yeah, I understand how you guys feel. I'm just gonna leave it in 3SF. I can't be bothered anymore. So back to where I was. Equals to 0. Then BD equals to negative. Remember, I'm bringing 5 over, positive become negative. Because this is addition, so when I bring over, I have to subtract. However, if it's multiplication, then when I bring over, it becomes division. Okay? So I get, I pressed the wrong button. I get 11.8. Wait a minute. The answer sheet says 11.2. Why is that so? Oh, you know what? Because I left it in 3SF. But if you didn't leave it in 3SF, it's 11.2. Yeah. This is why I like to leave it in 5SF, bro. This is so freaking confusing. But anyway, yeah. Just know that yeah, it is correct. It's correct. The working is correct. It's just that because I left this in 3SF, it changes a lot. Yeah, but just know it's 11.2. Ooh, and it's negative. That means, do I need to stop pressing eraser? It's negative. That means it is a compression. So since it is a compression, it's going towards wrong one. And now we can find BC. Boom. Okay, BC. So same thing. It's all about your result. Truss. The good thing about Truss is it's literally just resultant of X and Y all the time. For internal force. Take note, for internal force only. Okay. So I'm assuming my BC is going downwards, which is tension. So now I have to say that downwards is positive. Okay, so BC equals to AB is going upwards, so it's negative. Where do I put equals? BC minus AB minus BD in the Y direction. Okay, so BC minus AB. What's my AB again? 20 minus 20 minus what's my BD? 11.2. And is what was it again? I'm just gonna put the freaking times 4, because this is here 4. Okay, maybe I shouldn't use black. 4 equals to 0. So remember, negative bring over is positive, negative bring over is positive. If I were to compute it, I should be correct. I hope I'm correct. I have to be correct. It's not an ego problem. My BC, dude, I'm retarded. We calculated BC already, but if you actually compute it, it becomes 30 kilonewtons, which literally just proof. Yeah, I literally just proved myself. We actually finished it. Wow, poggers. Thanks, you guys. I'm actually saluting in real life. So Naresh, if you're watching this,